This is the John Hallett Podcast with John Hallett.
Because the way we're living, we need to change it, make it change today, and all learn from failure. Maybe they just wanted it a little bit more than you. That's probably the fact.
And now your host, John Hallett.
Hey, we're back. We're talking about people that are mean or jerks now. But there are plenty of craziness going on. I just was listening to the, I'm going to forget.
President's Morning Debrief?
Yes, thank you, Josh. That's why Josh is around, and I pay him the big, high dollar. I pay him in Twizzlers.
That's why I'm fat.
That's why I'm fat. I'm just, Josh, you got to keep working out harder. I don't know what's going on with your diet.
I've slimmed
Here,
way
have
down.
another Twizzler.
Introduce us.
So, what am I doing?
You were introing the show, remember?
Oh, yeah. This is the John Hallett Podcast, guys. Thanks for joining us. And again, we're going to talk about starting a martial art. That's tough, but man, is this world crazy. Monkeypox making a resurgence. They don't have enough vaccines.
Shocking.
Big shocker in there. But man, I have no idea about what the heck is going on. But really, there's a whole lot of gaslighting going on. That's what I feel like. I mean, I don't know how Kamala Harris is now some sort of savior when she was the worst VP ever, according to all sorts of people across all sorts of demographics. But again, they'll just continue to gaslight us and say the same shit over and over again. And I don't know why we're in the Ukraine. I have no friggin' idea whatsoever. I have no idea.
Oh,
There's real.
Okay,
There's real
yeah.
stuff. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't press that button again. I don't know how to run a podcast.
You want to hit the transition stuffs at the bottom before you bring me in? So
Oh,
go
yeah,
down
see?
there you go. See?
I
And then we hit that button.
The world's crazy.
Oh, man.
Blam.
How many, like, every day I wake up and I'm looking at the news and I'm just waiting for that story to come out. Like, Hezbollah and Iran, Iran and Israel at war, like active war.
Well, you see what happened to Iran? They had a major cyber breach. And
Shut
they haven't blamed the West or Israel as of this morning on the President's
this
Daily
morning?
Brief.
I didn't hear that. Oh,
It
my
was
gosh.
yesterday. Like, they were keeping it
Yeah.
really quiet. They had a really huge cyber breach on their banking.
Oh,
So people-
no. Whoa,
Yeah,
really?
credit card, like big financial breach.
Now we know where all the money's going. I mean, whoever found it, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it was like security and data. I don't know how much financial, as in like money, was locked up, but.
We'll just see where the money goes.
And
Like,
again,
follow
they're
the
being
money.
really is what they're not really saying anything, and unlike Iran, they're not blaming the West or Israel, so that's abnormal.
Yeah, why
but
they
they're
play
trying
it
to
so
keep
close
it
to the
really,
chest. Yeah.
really quiet, so we don't really know what. But evidently, it was a pretty major hack into their financial banking system.
Well, you never tell your enemies when they're successful against you. You
Yeah.
just kind of keep your mouth shut and move on.
Yeah,
which is kind of scary.
I just don't know. I said last night they were doing, and it's like 50-50, or Kamala, if we voted tomorrow, should win. She's ahead in the polls. I'm like, can they please talk about RFK?
Yeah. No.
Can we please talk about an alternative to these two?
Well, if you go,
I'll take Trump over her any day in their crazy. I'm sorry. I think all this stuff, this whole her VP pick, like, we're gonna let kids change their gender. I just told two of my kids
without
the other
parents'
day,
permission.
I'm like, there's going to be so many messed up kids when you guys get into your late 20s, 30s, never mind. These kids that were subjected to that and go, I was 12 and my teacher encouraged me to go down this path.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you got do whatever you want to do in your own house, your own bedroom, but when you affect other kids, I am so done with this crap.
Yeah.
But again, I don't even know what this podcast is about. Besides, we'd like to talk about our Clear Sky channel. Suckless.co. Get your performance up. You need your protein. You need your creatine. We need supplementing with multivitamins. All of that stuff, guys, is on there. You can get your BCAAs, pre-workout, all the stuff you need. Visit Suckless. It's supporting a great cause. My daughter working her way through college, so that'll really help us out. But we're talking about starting a martial art, and you had said before we hit the air,
I'm on the long-term plan.
yeah. And I
Long-term
said that's
plan.
the only plan.
Yeah, when you walk behind me, and it didn't really click until I'm like walking back upstairs. I'm like, that's kind of the only plan you can have if you really want to learn a martial art.
Yeah, so many people, and I go back and forth when I give people membership options. I'm like, look, I used to only do a year membership, but my wife / the HR department said you need to give people choices.
Sure.
So if they're, hey, we offered you a choice when you weren't happy, because people, I decided to golf now. I mean, the excuse is what I was saying. Something in my kids' class was like, excuse. Give me an excuse. Your toenail hurts. The excuses on why people decide to quit something they started are freaking insane. Yeah. And I am old and grumpy and sick of people making excuses. But we give them options now. When I go, a year, you want to learn how to defend yourself, a year is going to give you a really solid base to start from in something like Krav Maga, where it is MMA for self-defense. That's what we're about. I want to be well-rounded. I'm not a specialist because I don't know what's going to happen out there in the street. And actually that post, I did want to do Todd's post yesterday. I shared it out as well. And again, like trying to find stuff and time in the day. Yeah. But I put it on our website. That's how I can find it. I put it on a blog post. I thought it was great. It's why we work with Todd Fossey a ton. He's a great coach. But so many people out there have been conditioned on the whole thing. And I know a lot of people are listening to this, so I'm not even going to bother bringing it up. But you can visit rmsdf.com, go to our blog, and you can see it's the latest post. I just screenshotted it from Todd's Facebook. But his post, and do you know what percentage of violent attacks ends up on the ground? And one persuasive myth is 90% of fights end up on the ground, which is simply untrue. This statistic was cherry-picked from a study focused on violent law enforcement interactions, which makes sense given the context. And even starting there are so many people that don't get that paragraph. That they're not going to get that the law enforcement interactions, they've got to get handcuffs on these people, and having them on the ground is the best place to be. They're like trying to handcuff somebody standing up is really freaking difficult because they'll run away.
Well, it's easier for them to resist, right?
You can. There are good methods. I'm not saying like anybody out there in law enforcement, but if you got somebody combative, if they're standing up, it's not a good place to be putting cuffs on them. So I'm not even going to go into the rest. I mean, maybe you want to know. Maybe you want to know. Should we tell them, Josh?
Well, I would continue with this because
that
right there.
Yeah. The IDS, that's Todd. That's our citizen defender, integrative defense strategies, meta-analysis, which reviewed multiple data sets. This is where we'll have Todd because I don't have enough time in the day, and he gets into this stuff.
Just choose them up.
Which reviewed multiple data sets and case reports, suggests that 30% of violent attacks end up on the ground. This means that approximately 70% of attacks do not. Of the 30% that do go to the ground, 60%, and I've said this for years, 60% of the time, not 60%, the victim fell down while in 40% of the cases, the victim was deliberately taken down by the attacker.
Wow.
Like people fall. If I punch you and you fall on the ground, I kick you, you fall on the ground. That fight went to the ground, even if you stood up.
Yeah.
So it's a cherry-picked thing. And I've been saying this for years. I'm like, yeah, a lot of fights do go to the ground, but if you fall down because I punched you, it went to the ground. And where's the data? Because I see all sorts of fights that don't go to the ground.
Yeah.
Just go on YouTube, and there are plenty of guys, they all, like, you're going to cherry-pick something to fit your narrative in your martial art. That's why I like Krav Maga. It's evolving. Not that MMA's not. Guys, like, I love...
He's not knocking
also,
it.
it's like people get your gi all up your fucking ass.
He's on fire today, folks.
People are so fucking sensitive, and they go, like, whatever. Yeah, I suck at a lot of stuff.
But they don't go to the ground. I mean, it's really what it's showing, and we're always
Like,
we're up.
Well, that's what Krav Maga starts people off, and we do. You can't deny the ground.
Yeah.
Like, we're doing all of it. So when you come in as a beginner, it's going to take you a little bit of time. I'm sorry that you think you're going to hit an easy button and you're going to be awesome.
Yeah,
You're
it's
not.
gonna happen.
It's
not.
feel good. I took a you know how many women I took a self-defense class in college.
Great. So you had about an hour and a half of somebody.
4 hours. I'll give you. You spent the day.
Okay.
I already. There's probably more like 3 to 4 hours.
It's like the feel good coffee cup self-defense classes.
You train one time and you took a set. Please, I hope nothing happens to you.
Yeah.
Please, I hope nothing happens to you. But as I was telling the kids, like my elementary school kids, I was on a tear. And again, this podcast is like, what happens at John's school? Because I was on one of my kids that is literally transported from Sparta. I should maybe tell it. The kid's crazy, in a good way. He is a warrior. But I said to the kids, I'm like, look, I'm getting fired up because we're defending. You've been knocked down to the ground. You were down to the ground as a Krav Maga student. Somebody's now punching you because you're down to the ground, and we're redirecting their punch with a number 3 outside defense and going for a toe pick takedown. I didn't name it, guys. I don't care what you want to call it. It's in the Krav Maga curriculum, so we're not changing it. So students that go to another Krav Maga school, I've never seen you do anything like that.
What, me?
Yeah, I thought you were having a seizure. I'm like,
no. I was trying to mad dog, and apparently he's like, are you sick?
are you okay?
Right.
Josh's mad dog seems like he's dying. Oh, God, this is why Tara listens to this. She's like,
no, she doesn't listen to anything I ever do. She'll listen to you before she listens to me.
I know, that's what I was saying. That's why she's listening to my podcast.
Yeah.
But, like, guys, you need school. And I'm like, look, I'm not saying not to do good at school, but if you fire up school, don't do this. But if you get all through and you fool around and you don't end up with a good job or you don't get into the college you want, all that stuff, guys, you could still change it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's a good idea. You could be my age and go, you know what? I think I want to do this.
Happens all the time.
Yeah. But look, if somebody attacks you, if you're training, if you were fooling around, you're going to get your butt kicked. I'm like, please do not be the kid that comes to me and says, I got beat up by the bully. And I'm like, you guys are fooling around. Hey, guys, you're joking around over there. I want to have fun in my kids' program.
Yeah.
But let's be serious when we're doing a technique versus you guys goofing off and giving each other the wrong context. Mm-hmm. As Todd said, like, context dictates your strategy. Law enforcement context is I need to bring you to jail because you're a problem. Mm-hmm. I need to get you into my car or truck, whatever they're putting them in. That's their context. They're out there protecting the public. Self-defense is totally different context. Self-defense with your spouse being on the scene, your child. That's what we do in Krav Maga.
Yeah.
Like,
but it's not a short-term class.
It's not a short-term
thing.
It's just not. You're not going to do it in 6 weeks. It's a good start. Maybe you feel like it. But maybe you're just making a freaking excuse.
It's not going to do it in 6 months. I feel like I couldn't do it in 6 years. You know,
I can always get better. I've been doing this for so long that you can always get better. There's a little tweak. Like Eric just taught me a little tweak on a triangle. I'm like, that's worth the price of admission right there. That was awesome, Eric. Like, hey, I refined a little thing.
Yeah.
You know, with your feet. I'm like, God, that freaking magnet took it up 10x.
Yeah.
It's so much tighter by just doing this little thing with your feet. Now, all the guys, if they're, and again, nobody listens to my podcast. That's why I'm like, feeling like,
it's killing me.
Yeah, I know. I'm killing Josh there. I'm like, dude, I suck. But, there's so much noise and static out there. Why am I doing a podcast? I like talking to you. I like talking about martial arts.
Yeah.
But, support the
us.
crap, guys. Like, share, and subscribe, and all that stuff. Yeah. But look, little Aiden, this stuff. Aiden has been,
good Lord,
he is awesome. He's probably great on one of our things on social media. But he's not being the true little Sparta kid. He was driving me crazy last night, and that's what brought into the kids of like, hey, you're fooling around here. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
And or like Aiden's throwing a 360 haymaker attack super hard. at this other kid who's a good partner for him, but a bunch of belts lower. We're doing a straight punch defense. You're not even doing the right attack. Yeah. Let's go, little blue belt. And he's a blue belt. Like, you're a blue belt in our kids program. You got to start over and get reevaluated in our teens program, guys. I do not do this feel good. Oh, my 8. I think I just talked about, like, I was 8 and I was a black belt. Okay.
I was a kid black belt, but
that's
cool.
a kid. Yeah, you need, like, I was a black belt. You weren't really a whatever style black belt, in my opinion. You were a kid black belt. But now you're an adult and you got twisted. And so I was telling the kids, here's a picture of a dog. This is a cat. This is a cat.
But it's a dog.
No, it's a cat.
It's a dog.
But I'm teaching you as a little child.
Oh.
This is a cat.
That's a cat.
Are you going to think the dog is a cat? Yes.
Yes.
You're going to think that because you were taught that. Mm-hmm. Now, when we're out of context in a martial art and you're trying to do something out of context, you're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
It's a different situation. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a different block. Is it all, you know? And you're trying to roll up versus make a 360 number 3 defense, you know, basically making a goalpost if you're not familiar, versus rolling it up in front because it's coming straight down at a downward angle at you. Like, you guys are all off context.
Yeah.
You're trying to do one defense, and because you're trying to roll it up, you're doing the wrong thing. They could still land the haymaker at you.
Yeah.
You've got to see this fight vision. You need to see it.
And you don't do it unless you're actually doing it.
So, Aiden's driving me crazy. I brought out a white belt out of the cubbies. I'm like, I got a white belt. I'll start your butt over. You can't listen to me as a blue belt and do the right technique for a yellow belt kid that you're working with. Come on. Yeah. And then he was being all crazy, trying to get his energy out. And the rest of the kids who were doing pad battle, where it's basically doing push-ups. You're just punching tombstone pads into each other. It's a good fatigue drill in there. And I do another version called bumper cars, but that's a footwork movement one. This is just standing there and battling. And I'm like, punch straight. It's just doing a push-up. He's doing crazy attack. Like, he's just going crazy. It looks like he's got a pugil stick. He's going crazy. I'm just letting him go crazy. And besides, like, my little guy, I'm like, dude, don't partner with the smaller guy. And I'm like, Aiden, if the smaller guys want to rotate with you, will you stop crushing them? Stop crushing the younger guys. They're a white belt, dude. Come on. How many times have we had this discussion? They're a white belt. You're a blue belt. Can you show me that you're not? I was so mad at him. I had a new mom, like a mom that doesn't come in that much. I was like, I don't know what this lady thinks of me, but this is me. Yeah. And it's not all that crazy, but I'm like, oh, I'm so impressed. Yeah. Oh, Aiden, you smashed the white belt to the ground. That's so impressive. So impressive, Aiden. I'm so impressed with you.
You would
and
never
he was
do that.
like, no, I was saying that to him.
Really?
Oh, yeah, because I'm like,
He
dude.
was messing
like,
with him.
I would just, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, this is so impressive. I'm like, no, it's not impressive, Aiden. It's not impressive that you knocked down a smaller kid. He's a white belt.
I've seen him do it too.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
such a fighter.
He's so many times. And so I'm like, okay. I get the biggest kid in class. Like, do not let him up off the ground. Don't let him do anything. This kid was too nice to him. He's having a heck of... And this is a big, good size difference. Decent age difference in that elementary school. I think, maybe... God, I forget. Maybe 5th grade? I don't know how... this kid's fifth. The other kid's in what? What's he... Like first grade or second grade? He must be in second grade. He's got to be in second grade.
So did he fight his way out of that? I mean, I got to imagine he was nothing
but
a bag
and then
of
I get the
power.
next blue belt, and they're all both older. I get the younger brother. He's a better fighter. He had better success. And I'm like, you better control his hands. He was doing it. Like, he's swinging. I was like, hey, it's MMA style. Yeah. You better control his hands because he's going to punch you. I told him, look, and this was before we did the enforcer. Like, all right, you can grab with the bigger guys. So I'm not going to let you go with this other kid that's your body weight, your age division that we'll do in the kids class. I'm like, bigger kids. Like, look, if you want to beat people up, the teen class starts at 5:45. Yeah, I'll be there. Kid, his confidence / ego might be a little. I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
All right. Well.
So then I get this other kid, and I'm like, if you let him off the ground, you're a yellow belt. He's like, what? I'm like, I'm not going to make you a white belt, but if you let this little kid get up off the ground, you're a yellow belt. So he's like, you serious? I'm like, yeah, I'm serious. Yeah. If you can't wrangle that kid, I'm like, you were just at the Douglas County Fair and Rodeo. Yeah. I know you're a cowboy. That
don't let him
you better wrangle that kid. Yeah. And that checked Aiden's ego just a tiny bit, because he's like, don't remember you're a teenager. And he's like, I'm not a teenager yet, I'm 12. He's like, it kind of checked him a little bit. I'm like, oh yeah, see, he's not even a teenager. Yeah, get him. Don't let him up. Quickly, he's like, he's pinching me. And I'm like, you better control his arms. You better he's gonna do something to you. I'm like, you better control that kid. He's just a little bad. He's just battling. I'm like, can you please tie this kid up?
Right.
I'm like, come on, you did it. I saw you do stuff. Like, get him in something. Let's go. Triangle choke that kid. Get him tied up on the ground so he can't do anything.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't hurt him though. But yeah, don't hurt him. The mom comes in, and I'm like, hey, we're checking his ego.
Yeah.
Good. I've been trying. And I'm like, this is where. So she knows what we're doing. Yeah. Like, she knows what she just walked into. She's a great parent, and and then she says, this is another part of the story. She said, Aiden goes to bite him. I'm like, don't bite him. Don't bite him.
Man, that kid's
I'm like, Clay, better not let him bite you. Mom is like 15 feet away. Goes, bite yourself. And I'm like, don't say, no, don't say that to him. He bites himself. He's like, it's not that bad. And I'm like, bite harder. You're holding back because it's your bite. Like,
I never had that kind of fight when I was a kid. At least I never thought I did. And to watch him, you're just like, man, he epitomizes the stuff you want to see in some people. You want to see.
But I told him, I'm like, meet me over by the computer. The end of class. I'm like, look, you're a good warrior. You're good. You're a good fighter. You're good, but you don't pay attention. You do the wrong thing. You need to work on your head, and you need to check your little ego here, because beating up on the smaller guys and going all super hard just because you want to go hard, these guys aren't ready to train at that level yet. You're being a bad student. Like, you do not need to go that hard on these guys. And I'm like, you're really good, but I'm gonna make you a white belt just to check your little ego pride. Mom, it's like, you gotta love him, but you're driving me crazy.
Yeah.
Mom's like, I don't know where he gets the energy. If we bottle it up, I don't know where he comes from. I'm like, he's from Sparta.
Yeah.
Like, that's where we need to send him. We need to get a time machine, send that kid back to Sparta, because this kid, he would thrive.
Oh, yeah.
And they usually, what were the ages that they send those kids? Was it more like 12?
Oh gosh, really, really young. They would just
was it younger
take
than
their
that?
shoes away and make them run around the city and try to steal their own food. They wouldn't even give them clothes to some degree. When they hit a certain age, they would join the army. And if they ever were caught making mistakes, they would have the crap kicked out of them, just beat completely up. Yeah, Sparta was tough, but I think Aiden would. He would love it. Like,
he'd be fine.
It was like Michael, Michael used to go here. There were days that I thought he would, but he doesn't have that same.
He's nowhere near
Aiden's fight, or at least desire.
Nowhere near when he came in. Yeah, nowhere near. Yeah. Nowhere near Aiden. So,
but it's scary. I don't have I never had that when I was young.
I
never had it.
He's a little fighter, man. He's hopefully he stays in the straight and narrow path.
He will.
He's got good parents.
He does.
But man, you could be trouble if it went the other way.
Yeah.
Or
an MMA fighter.
But when you're starting martial arts, guys, you gotta slowly pick away and don't, check your ego, slow and easy. And it's gonna take you some time to develop the skill. This stuff is not, quote, easy. Like, Krav Maga is really practical and no nonsense to get people to a decent level quickly. but it's still going to take you time to work through this stuff.
Yeah.
And if you really want to defend yourself, that's what it's going to take.
And it's a lot of refinement, right? It's a lot of refinement. It is. It's just constantly refining those skills. And then, I mean, after a year, I barely remember some of the things I know I could default to. I mean, just, there's still techniques. You're like, do you know this one? I'm like, no. So you have to be on that long-term plan.
Yeah,
you
it's so tough.
You can't just join for a small amount of time. You really need to commit. You have to. Otherwise, it's just feel good.
Yeah, it's just feel good, and it's slow and steady, guys. Don't beat yourself up and, oh, I stink and whatever. You're just going to have this attitude that I'm freaking awesome. Like, I was listening to Adam Sandler on Joe Rogan, and he's like, I suck, but he's like, I went home. I would bomb. And I'd be like, I'm going to be awesome. Like, it's a good, I'm going to be great. And my dad used to make fun of my hair. He's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Now I look back, I'm like, oh my God, my dad was right. My hair was terrible. Like,
laugh at you just for that.
But he had this, I'm going to be great at this. He said one time he went out, he bombed, and the guy was like, hey, Adam, now what? You the class clown? Yeah, maybe you should have stuck with that.
Yeah.
And it's a good podcast about him. I always thought he was funny.
Is that kind of his shtick, is the class clown? Yeah.
Well, he was like, I was the class clown. It's a good interview.
Cool.
Talking about that. But, you know, like, I sucked, but I just kept doing it. You know, I was bombing. He's like, I was telling my friends I did great. He's like, I bombed at a show, and I'm telling them I did freaking great.
Mentality.
It was good. And, again, people, we're not all going to be freaking amazing. It's like when parents bring their kid, especially dads, and you think your kid's going to be Aiden. Like, and still, he has a ton of technique. He still needs to work on. He's got the attitude, but it's going to take your kids some time. He's like, oh, you're not getting it. Why don't you come in and take a class? It's going to take you time and reps. Even when you're like, oh yeah, sorry. Okay, now do it.
Yeah.
Do it. Do it an hour later. Do it 10 days later.
Try to do it 10 minutes later. It's not easy.
Yeah, it takes reps and time if you truly want to be safe. And that's sometimes I'm like, I'm grumpy and old and going, oh, you just want to take a month? We had a guy like, I don't know, I'm going to get really busy with travel. Like, you wanted to sign up for a month or a couple classes. Part of me is like, the hopes is like, oh, maybe they will, you know, really stick with it and like it. But the other part of me is like, I don't even want to deal with you. You have this mindset of like, yeah, I'm just going to do it for a couple weeks. I love sharing, don't get me wrong. And if you're out there, you know me. But there's another part of me of going, what the heck are you doing? Do you really want to learn this? I want to teach people that really want to learn.
Right, because otherwise I feel like I'm wasting my time.
Yeah, like I'm wasting my time, you know. But it's always in the hopes of that teacher that, you know, the student's going to walk through the door and really get, yeah, I really want to do this because I thought I was going to do it for a month. But there's the other part of me going, great, are you really serious? Or are you just going to be the person that quits?
Yeah, are you?
You know, you just have to.
I was
keep
worried that was
away.
me. I was so worried. I'm like, I'm going to start this. I'm going to quit because it's easy to quit.
Yeah, it's easy to just
It's easy to quit. It's hard to get up. This morning, I did not have it in me. I really didn't. But I dragged myself in. You know, everybody has those days. You're just like, I can't do this today. But you do. I still do.
Yeah, I mean, it's like some people are like, how'd you get so good? Well, I own a gym. And even the days I don't want to do it, I'm doing it. You know, that's how you get good. You just keep doing it. You go through those days of I don't want to do it and going, this is good for me. I need to do it. Yeah. You know, it's, you know, put on your big kid pants and be an adult and go, I want to be able to protect my family. I don't want to be fat and out of shape and freaking die early. I want to appreciate my grandkids. Or am I going to be the feeble person? It's get up and work out. Do something. Make a decision. You know, make a decision and stick with it. Yeah, it's going to be freaking hard. Of course it's going to be freaking hard. Life is freaking hard. People, you know, come in and out of your life. You know, people break up. You know, you lose your wife. Like the stories people have. Like, you lost your wife to cancer early. All this stuff. It's freaking crazy.
It's tough, yeah.
Life is not going to be easy. Either is learning a martial art easy, starting a business. It's not freaking easy. You just keep
But when you
friggin'
commit,
plugging on.
though, you get the skill, and then it becomes easier to want to do it. Because there will be those days you desire to do it. And the other part is if you're just having a hard time, you've got support at your gym with the other people that show up.
Yeah, or sometimes just showing
You know-
up. You're here. I'm here. Hey guys, I'm here. Good, cool. You're here. Awesome.
That's
It's like the
sometimes
kids.
all the support you
Parents
need.
like, they don't want to come. Of course they don't want to come. They want to play in their room. They want to play in the park. Da 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 da. You're probably gonna like let them be on their stupid darn tablet. Something I wish I knew more about. We talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
So, Jonathan Haidt, good books of these things destroying kids. Like, it's just not good, especially at an early age. These kids playing on these tablets and devices and everything else. Get out there and play in freaking nature like we did. Ride a bike, and not an e-bike. Freaking
Climb a
pedal
tree.
your butt.
I
Like,
know.
Oh, I got an
I
electric
see all those,
scooter.
like, just... I
But
get 45 miles on the battery.
you know, kids don't want to come. Like, bring them. Oh, I don't want to fight the battle. I don't want to fight the
Quit
battle.
being weak. That's what I want to say to parents.
Yeah, that's what I want to say so many times. Like, yeah, well, have fun when you don't want to fight the battle of them doing drugs or whatever else. Fight the
Dropping out of
battle now when they're
school,
young.
yeah, and win.
So, all right, guys, suckless.co. That'll really help us out. Check it out. Share it with a friend. All that stuff. Send it. Post it on your social media. Post our RMSDF stuff out on your socials. It helps us. You gotta share it. You gotta like it. But again, I say liking is like giving us the middle finger. You gotta share it. That really helps us out. But tell a friend. That helps it out. If you're out there, help out your gym. Talk about it. Let people know where you go. Support your local martial arts school. Your local small gym. Not these big box commercial crap that are going to take over the planet.
It's true.
It is. There's
It's
so many
true.
big box. Oh, we got total control. Oliver Anthony.
Monopolies.
All right, we're out of here, guys. Thanks for listening. If you had made it this far, Josh is going to give you a free private lesson.